the unintended consequences, they're going to bankrupt schools.
Yeah.
Sports are going to go away.
We know things have been going on behind the scenes for years and years, right? The underbelly of college sports, especially at the highest level, it's don't ask, don't tell. And now it's for the taking with the Supreme Court ruling. And now the NCAA with the name, image, likeness laws and rules coming into effect, they have to tread lightly on how they structure that as a governing body for fear of lawsuits after yesterday's ruling. And they're meeting today and tomorrow about things with their overall the decision makers for the NCAA.
I think they're going to tread very lightly.
Their board of directors.
They're going to, we're talking about baseball grip. I mean, their grip is going to be so tenuous and so soft, I think. They're going to wimp out on all of these fronts. They're not going to try to seize any control. I don't think we're beyond the point where they can wrangle this stuff in. And with so much change now, I don't think they could if they wanted.
They have to come up with a structure to this and a plan for this for two reasons in my mind. Number one, if they want to be a governing body moving forward. Because right now the only thing they do well is the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Everything else, that's it. I mean, you could go about your day as a massive conference, as a Power 5 conference, whatever you want to do, and govern yourself. But the governing aspect of it is important because right now it's a state-by-state free-for-all with NIL.
I don't understand how you can go forward with that.
And to me, you have to have some structure. And there is some language within this where they can still have a framework to work within. As a governing body, they can make rules and regulations where, and one of the Supreme Court justices yesterday, I can't remember who it was, said, it may have been Kavanaugh, said that they want to argue, you can put anything under the headline of educational purposes. I brought up the idea of needing the car to get to school. And it was written down yesterday as one of the opinions, is like, look, they can still put in a Lamborghini rule where you're not allowed to use that as an educational form of payment. So there are still ways for them to structure rules and regulations, but it's nowhere near or close to what it has been in the past.
And they're going to get challenged. This thing's going to go to court and go to court and go to court.
Well, and we actually have basically the summation, if you can find it, Jacob, and Jay Bill has tweeted this out, and it's just a segment of Brett Kavanaugh's statement on everything with the Supreme Court. Keep in mind, this was a 9-0 vote.
Right.
And it says, I think this really sums things up well in terms of how the Supreme Court views the NCAA's business, but also now where the NCAA's business is going to go, which will be at a detriment to the schools. To be sure, the NCAA and its member colleges maintain important traditions that have become part of the fabric of America. Game days in Tuscaloosa and South Bend, the packed gyms and stores in Durham, the women's and men's lacrosse championships on Memorial Day weekend, track and field meets in Eugene, the spring softball and baseball World Series in Oklahoma City and Omaha, the list goes on. But those traditions alone cannot justify the NCAA's decision to build a massive money-raising enterprise on the backs of student athletes who are not fairly compensated. Nowhere else in America can businesses get away with agreeing not to pay their workers a fair market rate on the theory that their product is defined by not paying their workers a fair market rate. And under ordinary principles of antitrust law, it is not evident why college sports should be any different. The NCAA is not above the law. That sums up the Supreme Court's take on everything that goes on with the NCAA. And they're not wrong. And everything that he's saying is absolutely correct. And Brett Kavanaugh went on to say, you can't have a hospital and claim we're going to pay nurses less because it's a purer form of health care.
Nursing.
You can't have a restaurant and say we're going to pay chefs and serving staff less because it's a better form of a restaurant.
Because customers prefer it that
Because
way.
customers prefer their chef being paid less. That's not a construct that could exist any longer.
Law firms cannot conspire to cabin lawyers' salaries in the name of providing legal services out of a, quote, love of the law.
I thought Brett Kavanaugh made great points and really put it in a real life, things like that. that made a lot of sense for people. And he's right. And legally he's right. But he's also opened up the door saying, if you've got other lawsuits, come on. So now what is to stop a bunch of people filing a class action lawsuit claiming money that they're owed for fair market rate? They're going to go and look at the finances. State universities, their finances are out there. The amount of money they made in a certain sport. If you got together with your college basketball teammates at Michigan, and it's all out there. This is how much money we made in that run to 2 national championship games in this time. And we filed a class action lawsuit against the NCAA and the University of Michigan for money that should have been made in a fair market. They might win. And then other teams may claim the same thing. They might win. These are the unintended consequences of these rules. It looks great on its face. And the Supreme Court is right in what they're saying about free market and business. The unintended consequences, they're going to bankrupt schools.
Yeah.
Sports are going to go away. The same people arguing that there needs to be compensation for college athletes are also a lot of the same people that would claim Title IX is a good thing. It's great that young men and women have a chance to go to college on scholarship, further their education, and play sports. Those sports are going away. It's not just scholarships going away. If they start suing, and there are settlements that happen, and schools are having to pay football and basketball what they're worth in terms of revenue, let's take this to the free market. The argument is you pay them because a free market dictates it. This is a country built on a free market. Fine. When you do that and it's a free market, schools are only going to keep the sports that make money in their free market. And if it's costing them a ton, see ya women's bowling, see ya lacrosse,
Golf, everything.
see ya
All the Olympic
We
sports.
have an intern that plays women's field hockey. See ya Richmond field hockey. See ya later softball in a lot of places. See ya later baseball in a number of places. They're only going to have the sports left that make money for the school, and I don't think that's the intended consequence of people that are seeking compensation, but that's what could happen.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.